I had some folks request a redo of this desktop printer setup from Zebra. This is a 621R. It has RFID encoding capabilities. If your model doesn't have an R, it's just a standard. You might actually see the letter T on there for thermal transfer if it's got this big flat nose on the front, like a cliff that comes off. That means it's got a ribbon mechanism inside and it's capable of doing um, thermal transfer labels as opposed to direct thermal. That model will have a slope to it. And if you have a government model, it could be the thermal transfer one, but you won't see a display. You'll just see some buttons, and some membrane buttons, and indicator lights. Okay, anyway, when you start, you can leave it powered off, and you'll see some things that are some labels that come with it. You can take them out. They're just generally some initial setup stuff. It's not very important. It just shows that they went through some QC process. Um, Point out a few things. This is your media sensor. If you have normal material like this with a gap that's full width, then you really don't need to adjust anything. It's going to find it whether it's left, right, or whatever. Just kind of line up the arrows. There's one on the yellow piece. There's one on the gray piece. Just line up the arrows. You're good. RFID modules, if you have one installed, will be right behind here. So you can see that distance between the top of the roller, which is where the print head comes down to the top of the roller. That distance from here to here is really short. And that allows you to do some small pitch labels where you might have, you would definitely have problems using this in the bigger industrial models. Okay. The other thing you'll probably need to do with a new 621 is you'll need to probably add these little plastic ears. I've already done it. They come in a bag and they come with a little tool. And the idea here is if you if you had no ears, this thing would sit on the drag on the floor and you just wouldn't be able to get it to spin. So you need to raise it up. And so you screw in from the sides, there's two screws that holds these little ears up, which you can now capture the top of the media right there rather than down here, right? It raises it up, and so now it slides freely. Push it down through here. So you want your, these ears to be on top, and you want it to go over the media sensor, and you also want it to come over your roller. Okay, so just do that. And then in terms of ribbon, this freaks people out, but it really shouldn't. It's not that hard. When you raise this up, you'll have a top and a bottom, but when you go forward, you'll see one is forward and one is in the rear. The rear one is for the supply spindle. That goes in the rear or the bottom. And the take-up roll, do not throw these spindles away. Do not. They're very valuable. Okay, so you need one, otherwise you can't use the printer. So that's going to go in the front. And you want it to look like kind of a little scroll. So when you've got them rolled together, they look kind of like that. Boy, that camera is not catching it very well, right? You just want it to look like that. And your supply reel is going to go in the back. These things are springy. So we're going to go here, and then you'll line it up so that there's a little notch. That notch here lines up with a notch here on both supply and take up. So we'll go do the same thing here, spin it around until it catches, and then you can just roll it tight, and you're pretty much done at this point. Okay. So yeah, you've got everything done. Close it down. I don't have anything connected yet, but just a quick overview. You've got power and a blade. I'm going to use this blade here to show you something that I use for speeding up setup. I use a little SD card and with a USB adapter. I have a separate video to explain why I don't use a USB stick. Anyway, we use Zebra's mirroring capabilities here to load firmware, setup files, and then a test file. And you stick that in the back, you power it up, you power it by holding this down until you see lights, and then just let go. And as it comes up, you're going to see a mirroring mode. Now, I've done this before on this model, so it doesn't need to upgrade the firmware. But if it did, it would just go ahead and update the firmware first, and then it would go through the rest of this mirroring process as a second time. So when you finally see that mirroring is done, you can either hit X, right, to stop it, or go here. And then you're done at this point. It's done everything it needs to do. You can unplug it from the back and cast it away. Now, what it has done is set up this printer for this material type. So the printer now knows all the other settings that you'd either have to do manually or, you know, some other means of setting up, what, 30 different things. So it's done it all at one go. You can now hit media, or I'm sorry, and then this menu, and then the printer. And I'm just going to check a couple things here. Print quality will show me darkness is set right, print speed set right. I have noticed that I can't, that backfeed speed at 2 will work well, but the slew speed is hard to describe what it is, but you might need to manually set that to 2 as well. All right. Now the last thing it did is that it actually added a template on here that you can use to check your alignment. So if you, at this point, lift it up, put it back down, it'll go into pause mode and hit the pause button. And the way I've set this up, it'll go through a little calibration here to make sure it understands how long each of these labels are in the feed direction. And now it comes out perfect. Now, granted, I've wasted 4 labels, but labor rates are a lot more expensive than the cost of these things. So let the printer do its thing. Every time you put the print head down, it's going to do that. Okay. If things are messed up in printing, raise it, put it down, let it recalibrate automatically, and then begin printing again. So let's just test that print job. I'll go into menu, and then you'll see a folder here. I'm going to hit the folder, and then print from E. I only have 1 label, so I'm just going to hit select all. And it should then print an alignment label that magically is perfect. Now, normally it isn't. On a new printer, it'll either be shifted this way or shifted that way or something. And but this label format doesn't make any assumptions about what the origin is. It's 0, 0. And this printer may need to actually adjust then through image adjust. You may need to change the horizontal or the vertical. You see I've adjusted the vertical here to 12 to make it actually fit properly. But this alignment label and this stick will save you a lot of time in terms of setting these things up.